Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing a little story time about how I found out I was pregnant. So let's get started. To begin with, Lucas and I had been married. 1-year wedding anniversary was in May of 2020, and I found out I was pregnant March 3rd, 2020. And I got pregnant February 1st, second Super Bowl baby. I know we were married, so it sounds weird to say it wasn't planned, but it wasn't. I mean, I love kids. If you know me, you know that I work in childcare. I love babies until they're like 1.5, 2 maybe. Obviously, I'm gonna love my own kid. And Lucas did not want kids for 2+ years, and we didn't even make it 1 year of being married. I mean, he's excited now and whatever, and he was never mad. I was actually kind of scared to tell him. I don't know why. I don't know what I thought his reaction would be. We were both pretty scared when we found out. I was 3 days late on my period. I don't know if that's TMI. I wasn't expecting it to be positive at all. I was getting ready for work and I was like, I'm just gonna take one just to see. It's like one of the cheap ones. I might insert a picture, I might not. I don't know if I can figure out how to do that. And it immediately, like the second line came up. And it wasn't like that faded either. But I had never taken a cheap one. I had these pregnancy tests from not a while back, but like not too long ago. We had a scare before March. I just had them as backup. Like I took one and then had other ones and I never took them. So it came up immediately. I was still like kind of in denial. Like I went to work and I was in there with one of my friends who's close to my age, and her son was about 3 or 4 months old maybe at the time. I was like, I think I'm pregnant. She's like, oh no, it's probably a false positive. Probably not. I'm like, yeah, you're right, I'm probably not. I went home on my lunch break and Lucas was at home on his lunch break too. And I walked in the bathroom and I was like, I'm gonna take the digital one that like actually says not pregnant or pregnant. And I took it and it came up pregnant. So obviously I'm pregnant. Texted my sister a picture of them both and I said, I think I'm pregnant. And I'm pretty sure she said, you think? You are. Like, obvious. It was so obvious. I was super nervous. I didn't know if I should like surprise Lucas in a cute way, even though like we weren't planning, or if I should just tell him. I was just so, I don't know what I thought, but I was so scared for his reaction. So before we even both went back to work on our lunches, I told him because I could not keep a secret. He knew something was up because my sister called me. And I walked into the kitchen and I was like being all quiet and I was like, hey, like Lucas is home, like I'll call you later. So I walked back in the living room and he's like, what is up? Like, why are you acting so weird? And I like pulled both the pregnancy tests out of my pockets and I was like, like, here you go. And honestly, he was like, what? Like, he was not expecting it whatsoever. So yeah, we were both really scared at first. I mean, he was like, well, okay, we're having a kid, like, that's what's happening. And we were really scared at first, like I've said multiple times, but that went away so fast. I'd say maybe 2 weeks we were like scared, and then we were super excited. I was like almost exactly 4 weeks the day I took the pregnancy test. And mind you, this is all pre-COVID. I feel like COVID started like a week or 2 after I found out. I like immediately told one of my other coworkers that I work with, and then my sister knew, and then Lucas knew. And I ended up going to the base clinic that day with Lucas. I left work early, like said I was sick, and got like a pregnancy test there and they confirmed it. My first appointment was supposed to be when I was 8 weeks. And we were supposed to be going home the beginning of April. So this was the beginning of March. And I was 4 weeks, so it would have been roughly around that time. This was before COVID. So I like scheduled the appointment and it was gonna be like right before we went home. Well, then COVID happened. All travel got banned. We weren't allowed to go home. We were gonna tell our family when we went home, but that didn't happen. We ended up having to tell them all over the phone, which it was fine. Everyone was super excited. Everyone was so happy for us. We told them all pretty early. I think I'd say I was like 6 6 to 8 weeks maybe. Once everyone knew, I got way more excited. But then it was also COVID, so like I stopped working. So I was just at home every day, which honestly wasn't bad. Like I loved it. But yeah, that's the story of how I found out I was pregnant and kind of a little extra. And now I'm gonna talk about like my first trimester and my symptoms. And like you might be wondering, like all this acne on my face, it's thanks to my baby. That's one of my first symptoms. I have had terrible acne, not just in my first trimester. I mean, yes, it was like it started in my first trimester, but it's still relevant. It's actually not as bad as it was in my first trimester. I mean, my face still is pretty bad, but I had so much acne on my back and shoulders. Like, it was horrible. That was one of my symptoms. I also wrote down in my cute little notebook some other symptoms to talk about. Oh, I totally forgot to mention, I was on the depot shot from like the middle of 2016 to October of 2019. I decided to get off of depot because I would honestly describe it as a depression shot. I know lots of people have different symptoms from it. Some people gain weight. I can't really say my weight gain was because of that, because I'm not really sure if it was. I've just always, my weight fluctuates so much, but I definitely know that when I was in high school, I would be sad for no reason whatsoever. I would cry for no reason whatsoever. And you can ask my husband, ever since getting off of it in October, I'm a million times happier. And I'm so glad I got off of it. So I didn't get off of birth control to like have a baby. I got off birth control to stop being depressed. Like I said, our pregnancy wasn't planned. I mean, I'm 20 and Lucas is 21. So we are young, but honestly these days I feel like that's not normal, but not abnormal. So I forgot to mention that. Going back to my first trimester symptoms, I had a little bit of cramping, like whenever I took those 2 pregnancy tests. And I'm someone who has horrible cramps, like miserable. So they weren't like horrible, they were just little cramps. And I was like, this is kind of weird. So that was a symptom. After like I found out I was pregnant, there was like a 2-week period of like nothing. Like from 4 to 6 weeks, I had no symptoms, I'd say. I think at 7 weeks, the nausea started. I don't understand how people can like not know they're pregnant and like say they had no symptoms, because I was nauseous every single day. I threw up one time, which I guess isn't bad. One of my friends is like a month behind me, and she said she threw up like 2 to 3 times a day in her first trimester. I probably could have thrown up, which sounds gross, and it is gross. Throwing up is like my biggest fear, I'd say. I didn't let myself throw up, and I did throw up one time, like I said, and I was 12 weeks at that point. But other than that, I've heard people refer to their like morning sickness, all day sickness, whatever you want to call it, nausea, as like just being hungover all day. And like I said, I am 20, but I've never been hungover to know that feeling. So maybe later down the line, when I'm older, I'll be like, oh my god, this is like what my nausea felt like. I guess that's the comparison I'm gonna make. I don't know. It was just horrible. It was miserable. I was miserable 24/7 until I was about, honestly, 20 weeks. It lasted all the way through my first trimester into my second. I can say now I'll be 27 weeks on Saturday, and today is Wednesday, and I am not nauseous. It's gone now, and I would say it like went away around 20 weeks. It got to the point where I told Lucas, like, we're not having any more kids. Like, this is miserable. And yeah, those were all my pregnancy symptoms in my first trimester that I wrote down or that I can remember.